Welcome to A Slice of Therapy. This podcast was created with Anchor. And if you've not heard of Anchor, let me explain. It's free. It's a really easy way to make a podcast. And it helps me because I can just do this every day directly into my phone, because there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. So if you fancy making a podcast too, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So I've often spoken on this podcast about getting to know your own nervous system, because everyone's nervous system is constantly listening, and it doesn't go through your thinking brain, but it's constantly listening out for cues of safety and cues of unsafety. And it does it all the time. It doesn't consult us, it just acts. Because if there's a need for it to respond to something that is not safe or maybe even life-threatening, then evolutionarily it just makes sense for it to act and go into that place of, say, fight or flight, rather than consult us about it. And so it's really helpful for us to be able to partner with our nervous system, simply because it responds without going through our thinking brain, that it has a certain amount of autonomy. That's why it's called the autonomic nervous system. And so it's good to begin to partner with it and know how to befriend it. And by that I mean that you become skilled at noticing when you've moved from a place of connection, where everything feels okay, to a place of protection, because some cue has just happened that makes you feel less than okay, maybe less than safe. And your nervous system will be moving out of these states, in and out, all throughout the day. And so once you get to the point where you can spot that you've gone from a state of connection to a state of unsafety and protection, then that's a really useful skill to have, because then you're able to start tracking your own nervous system's responses. And you'll be able to know whether you're in connection or whether something's happened which has just put you on alert. And if you've gone into a state of alert, are you kind of high energy, ready to, fight off a predator or run away from it? Or are you feeling unsafe in such a way that you feel numb and shut down, much like animals do when they play dead? And so these are all good questions to ask as we get aware of what's going on in our body. This wonderful alarm system that we have, which is responding all the time to move us into connection or into an alert state of self-protection, to kind of boost our energy to get away from whatever the threat might be, or to shut us down again. And when I say get away from the threat, I don't necessarily mean that there is actually a predator around. Sometimes this can happen because, someone gives us a bit of a dirty look, or a brown envelope that is an unexpected bill has just landed on your mat. But evolutionarily, that's what it was for, wasn't it? To try and escape or fight off a predator. And so we still have those responses of high energy alert, that fight or flight. Just as we also have those responses where when we can't solve the problem or haven't solved the problem, or have kind of given up on solving the problem, then our nervous system can go into shutdown. And one of the ways in which you can really track this is when you're watching a movie. Because one of the things that a movie is designed to get you to do is to switch states. When someone writes a film, they're literally trying to move you emotionally. And so there'll be moments in the film where you will move from one state to the other. And one of the tools that are used by filmmakers in order to get you to do this is sound. In particular, the music that accompanies the film. So when you're next watching a film, notice your own nervous system. Notice where you move into that state of alert or doom. And notice again where the music brings you back to a place of, oh, thank goodness, everything's okay again. And you'll hear it in the music. And there's a couple of things in particular to listen out for, which we were evolved to listen out for and act really as cues of danger. And one of them is very deep sounds. So if you remember the classic film Jaws, what's the sound that says that the shark is nearby? The sound is do, 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 do. Very deep sound. And they've used that very skillfully because that's part of our evolutionary kind of musical language, really. Because in evolutionary terms, when a predator is around, boom, 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 then they make those deep sounds, don't they? If you imagine, say, on Jurassic Park, for instance, when the dinosaur was nearby, it was those deep sounds that were being made. Not that we were around at the time of dinosaurs, but just to kind of illustrate the point. And the other sound that we will listen out for, and we're hardwired to listen out for, are very high-pitched sounds. And so another classic movie, Psycho, the cinematic music there was very high-pitched, wasn't it? When danger was around, it was like ee, 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 ee. And so the composers have actually taken us on a journey of our nervous system and are able to provide cues in the music that something isn't right, that there's danger, that the main character is in danger there. And so as you watch a movie, there will be certain musical cues of danger. And so it's really helpful actually to, just as an exercise in terms of getting to know your own autonomic nervous system, to notice through that hour and a half where the story, where the music, where the film takes you on a journey of your own nervous system, where at times it's like, oh no, and you're on alert, and it feels like the main character is in some danger, and you'll be responding to that too. And then there'll be other moments where, oh, thank goodness, everything's okay again. And it'll be cued by the music. And so if you're looking for a pretty pleasant way of tracking your own nervous system, watching a good movie, it doesn't have to be a scary movie, because all movies have these moments in of tension. And those tension moments are normally in places where there is at least some sense of unsafety for the main character, even if the unsafety is the relationship is breaking down or whatever. There'll be moments where the main character is moving from connection to a place where they really need to be protecting themselves. And in those moments, check your own nervous system. Check how the music invites you to feel one way or another. Check how the music invites you to understand that there is some threat in the vicinity here, and how the music will cue you back to safety again. And one of the reasons why it's helpful as well, not just in terms of beginning to get a good understanding of how you feel as you move from one state to another, But you also get an understanding as well as to how you can invite yourself back to safety, that there are certain kind of sounds that might cue you back to safety as well. Although that's really just a byproduct of watching this, because of course if a movie maker can invite you to a place of danger or invite you back to a feeling of safety, then we can do that ourselves, can't we, by, I don't know, building a playlist, for instance, of things which invite us back to feeling okay again. But the most valuable thing is just to go on that journey of noticing what's going on in your own body that tells you that you're not particularly feeling safe in that moment as you're watching the movie, not feeling safe for the main character, and then when you're invited back again. And it's a really interesting learning experience. You can do it, of course, with TV box sets as well. But a movie is a nice 90-minute exercise when you're just enjoying something anyway, just to check in with yourself and use that moment of enjoyable leisure time to start to track your own autonomic nervous system and the various cues which put you in one state and invite you back again to connection. So I hope that's a useful idea. If it is, please pass it on. If you'd like to work with me directly, I'm Alun Parry, and you can find me at liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. And of course, feel free to subscribe to this podcast. It's completely free, and there's a new one every day. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back with one of those new ones tomorrow.